Hi, good morning. So today I came up with a video where I will explain you how to break your task to atomic level. It is very important that every dev who is working on a ticket should able to break down his task into subtasks properly so that he can estimate it accurately. I have seen many developers, I have met many developers who are not breaking their tasks properly. They do not know how to break them. And that is why they are not able to estimate them. And due to the wrong estimates, the sprint fails. So it is very important that we break down the tasks. So here I will give you a small example where we will break down the task into a smaller subtasks at the atomic level so that it can't be broken down to the further levels. So uh, here we have a task, a very simple task. It is not a story, it is just a task. So it is a simple task where it says edit profile, and the description is very small. Add edit profile page where the user can see and update his or her personal details. By reading this small description and this snapshot, it is very obvious that a junior developer will get confused. Even sometimes senior developers think that that is very easy thing. We can do it quickly, maybe in 8 hours. So let's see how we should estimate this. We have a snapshot on this, and this snapshot is a dummy snapshot where we need to cover this section inside this ticket. You can see there are a couple of fields, 5 to 6 fields, and then one selection for the gender, then there's a save button. So let's see how we can break it down to the atomic level. So the first thing I can see is we need to create a UI. So let's create one subtask for the UI. Here is the option, and we should always add tags in the subtask so that we can easily see them and filter them out. So I prefer adding the tag in front of the subtask so that I can quickly notice to which part this subtask belongs. So the first task is about UI, and we need to uh, create UI for edit profile, right? So in this subtask we will just create the UI. We will just arrange some text fields and all the controls, buttons, text fields, labels, and headings, all that stuff. But definitely we will take some extra time to make the specific things, like you have seen the gender selection. So we will create another subtask for that. So in this we will do all the basic stuff where UI is involved. This is our one subtask. What next we can do? Obviously, when we will create this UI will be empty. We have to populate it, right? So another front end task. Let me open this ticket in a separate tab so that we do not need to switch again and again. So the second subtask is about populating the data. So to populate the data, we need to consume an API, if I'm not wrong. So at UI level, at the front end, consume the user detail API. If we are working with REST APIs, the API should look like this. It will be get API, and resource is users, and then we need to add the ID. In this we can get all the user data to populate it. So this task is about consuming the API, and we need another subtask for UI, that is for front end. Populate the form with the data on load. So when our page is ready, we should immediately populate the data, and we should show some kind of loader or overlay loader to block the user unless the data is ready. So we should not allow them to edit unless the data is ready. So we should add all the instructions in the description of this subtask. What next? Obviously, when we will populate the data, and then we need to create these special controls. I can see some special things like the special date picker. Then we have this special type of field where we are showing the flags according to the phone code, right? Phone number code. And then we have this radio button, which is special, which is not normal radio button. And might be this will not a radio button. We can do it in many ways. So we'll use the best way. So let's make a ticket for this. On UI, create a gender selection gadget or gender selection radio button, something like that. And okay, then we have a phone number field, right? So create a phone number field with flags. So we need to understand one important thing here, that when we are entering the code, obviously it should not automatically selected. We have to select this from the drop down. If it is India, we need to select the India and then enter the phone number, right? So it is not very difficult. We can add this type of field, and there are so many ready-made things available. If you are using React, for example, there are so many gadgets like this. So create a phone number field with flags, drop down. This is another subtask. Let's add the label as usual. This is UI task, so let's write UI. Now what else we can see? This date picker. Add a date picker where we can select a date, a birth date, right? It is a birth date. So UI, add a date picker where we can select a date accordingly if the age is more than 18 years. So date picker should not allow us to add our birth date if we are below 18 years. So we have to make the buttons disable and all that kind of stuff in the date picker. So that is why I have created a date picker ticket. We need to decide the date picker and then apply all that logic. There are so many gadgets available for this also, but this is something separate. Apart from this, we can easily see no form exists without validations. So again, UI task, apply all the required validations on the form. Now it is very important that the person who has created this ticket he should add all the documents about validations and other use cases so that we can cover all that things inside our subtasks. These are not all the subtasks. Let's see what else we need here. There is another API at front end. Consume the API to submit the form and show loader accordingly. We should show loader unless the form is getting submitted, and that loader should be, according to my view, it should be somewhere inside the button so that we do not block the user. We should not block entire interface in this case. And consume the API according, if we are using REST APIs, the API route should be post with method post, and resource is users slash slash is not required. Yeah, it is required. It is not post. I'm sorry. It should be put because we are updating. And we are updating a specific user, so the route will have the user ID and it will have the body too, inside which we will send the data, the new data. So any other UI API if we can see. That's all, I guess, right? Now let's see what backend things we have in this ticket. So let's add a tag backend. And first of all, we have to expose an API. And API, expose an API to fetch the user details or user detail or details is right. So again, this will be the same route according to REST API standards. We will get it users ID, right? Another backend task is expose an API to update the user details, right? Again, the route will be, which we have mentioned ago in the previous ticket, that is put users with ID and the body, right? Then what else? Do we see anything else for the backend? I think there are only two APIs. Yes, one more thing. Backend. Handle all the validations, right? Without backend validations, front-end validations are just for doing the things quickly, but they are not secure at all. Anybody can bypass the front-end validations if we know little bit computers. So yes, backend validations are the real security check. So, yes, handle all the validations at backend. This is another ticket subtask. Anything else for backend if we can see? I think nothing more for backend. One more ticket for DB. If we do not have that table yet, we can create the table with the help of migrations. In all our new coding languages or frameworks, we have migrations, right? Without migrations, we should never work. So update the, actually when we are talking about migrations, it is about backend, not DB. Update the migrations, right? And if we do not have the database table, it will get created with this migration, right? And might be we need some seeds too. Do we need any seeds inside this? No, I don't think so. Okay, that's all. So now you can see we have tried to break this down to the atomic level. If we will try to break it further, it will be very small tickets and we don't need to break it. This is the valid breakdown as per my knowledge. And when we start estimating these tasks, so for creating a UI, right, let's say it will take, if we need to create an accurate UI with pixel perfect design, let's say it will take 3 hours, right, if you are expert. So let's open the notepad here. So I am trying to explain you how accurately we can give the estimate now. So for you, for first ticket it is 3 hours, and for second ticket we are just consuming an API, posting the data or getting the data. So to integrate an API, we have a generic function. We must have a generic function inside the code base. So it should not be more than 1 hour, right? So it is 4 now. And then we have populate the form on data load. It is very easy thing. So again 1 hour more. Then we have create a gender selection radio button. That is little bit tricky, but if you are expert you can do it easily. And that will, let's take, if we need to create it pixel perfect and working and test all the things, it will take let's say 2 hours. So 5 plus 2 is 7. One ticket we have skipped, that is unit testing, right? So unit testing, let's add the label unit UT. Okay, so we need to write the test for this, and to cover all the cases, write down the unit testing. Actually we should make 2 different tickets, one for front end and one for back end. Write down the unit tests, not testing. Same, write down the unit tests, or it should say add the unit test, not write down, add the unit tests. So we were calculating the efforts. Let me open the notepad again. Let's take it at one side, and 7 up to this, and then we have 4 number field with flags drop down. Again we need to search that on internet, decide the better plugin. There's no fun to create it from scratch. We can use any plugin. So let's say it will take 2 hours, 9 hours, right? Then we have a date picker. Date pickers are very easily available if we are using any UI framework, let's say like Material UI or Ant UI. It is very easy, but still we need 1 hour for that, so 10 hours. Then apply all the required validations. Yes, if we are using a good package for validations at front end, it will take 1 hour again. That is 11 hours now. Apply all required validations. Consume the API to submit the data with proper loading. That is about UX. So loading, we need to take care of loading. Yes. So submitting the data. Submitting data means we have the data according to validations, and we need to hit an API. So for that we have different tasks. So I will add 1 hour for this and 1 hour for the next task. That is 13. And then we have backend tasks. So let's calculate them separately. So backend task is expose an API to fetch the details, right? This will take, let's say, 2 hours for an expert person, and another API to post the data, 2 hours more, 4 hours. Then we have handle all the validations, 2 hours more, 6 hours. Then update the migrations should be updated very carefully. 1 hour is fine, I think. So 7 hours. Add the unit tests, 2 hours for unit tests if you are expert in that. So 9, and unit test for front end, 2 hours, 15. So this is the estimate. So the ticket for which we were thinking that we can complete this in 8 hours, we were wrong. Approximately, or I should say now accurately, we need 15 plus 9, that is 26, I guess, right? So we need 26 in total, 26 hours to complete this ticket. So when I say 26, that means if we have two developers working side by side, we do not want to block block the front end person unless the API is complete. So I always recommend to use mock APIs in frameworks, like popular frameworks like Angular, Vue, or React. We have mock APIs. In Axios, if we are using Axios also provide the mock APIs too. So we can create the mock APIs in the front end code directly. Backend developer should give the final data. And 26 means it will take 3 days if single person is working, and if 2 person are working, then it will take approximately 2 days or 1.5 day. So the complexity of this ticket is, according to story points, it should be, first of all, let's add the hours, 26 hours. And the complexity should be, do we have story points? Assign a reporter, priority. We do not have story points enabled in this Jira right now, but according to complexity, it should say 5 in the first sprint, and then we can analyze later what is the relative complexity. That's all from my side. It is very important, again I am saying it is very important that if we will not break down, if we will not spend time to break down our tickets, then we will not able to guess the right estimate, and we will give the wrong or false delivery dates, and definitely that will create a problem for everyone involved in this project, right? You can see it has taken, I have done it very slowly for you, and it have taken around 10 minutes. So if we spend 10 minutes as a developer to break down the ticket, it is not a big deal, right? So please, I suggest to everyone that let's please try to understand this and start adding proper breakdown to atomic level. Thank you. Have a good day. See you again.